What's up, Bible Caddie listeners? It was our full intention to be back this week in the first week of August, but because Ben was traveling back from Portugal and Webb's playing in Greensboro, we had a major scheduling snafu. So we're going to release one more Bible Caddie Classic with our guy, Bubba Watson, and we will be back next week with all the guys, recapping the summer and the week following, starting a brand new series, which we can't wait to tell you about. So until then, let's get into the Word and let the Word get into us. Welcome back to the Bible Caddie Podcast. I'm William Kane. I'm joined by my good buddies, Webb Simpson and Ben Crane. And today we're honored to have 12-time PGA Tour winner, 2-time Masters champ, great friend to both of you boys, Bubba Watson. So welcome, fellas.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I'm actually not in the normal recording spot this week in Charlotte. I'm in Pinehurst today. Had to take care of a couple things here, but it's going to be hard to leave. I love Pinehurst. William, we were sitting around this table a couple months ago at the U.S. Open having dinner together.
If the listeners could see how Webb is handling his camera today, he's got his phone propped up on a box of nuts. So we're running a really high-end operation here.
Box of nuts and balancing on some pasta sauce. That's probably expired, so we're good to go.
All right, well, we got lots to talk about. We got Bubba Watson with us today. Just finished the LIV season. We got President's Cup this week. We got 2-time Masters champ. We want to get to marriage. We want to get to family. We want to get to adoption. We want to talk about all this stuff. But first, I want to start with this just to kind of whet our appetite. Ben and Webb, what's your favorite Bubba story?
Honestly, it's probably of recent. Just playing together. We've been playing together quite a bit out at Troubadour and just growing in friendship and fun. And our wives both, like, literally, I think, do they love golf more than we do?
For sure. Mine does, for sure.
For sure. We're out there because we're like, they want to be out there. And we literally we'll play as much as they'll go, and they'll go for a long time. They love golf. So that's been super, super fun.
Yeah, I would say I have so many great memories with Bubba. Probably my favorite was the first time we got paired together in Australia, 2011 President's Cup. And I knew Bubba some. Earlier that year, Bubba and I played in the final round in New Orleans together, where I still tell him I took one less shot for him for the week we got in the playoff because I had a penalty. But he quickly reminds me every time he asks me where the trophy's sitting from that week, and it's in his house and not mine. I knew a little bit about Bubba, obviously, going into President's Cup, but our personalities, I think, were perfect to partner together in team golf. And, you know, that first match we went out and we beat, I think it was Ernie Els and Ryo Ishikawa. And Bubba, like I knew he was a Christian. I didn't know much more beyond that in terms of his faith. But as soon as we won, he gathered Teddy and Paulie and myself over. And I'm like, we're going to have a little pep talk, a little huddle up here after our win, game plan for tomorrow's match. And he's like, let's give thanks to the Lord. And so that was really cool, right? Like, I saw this guy who professed to be a Christian, and now in front of everybody, he's thanking God. But here's the coolest part. We won 3-0, or we were 3-0, and then we lost our fourth match to Schwartzel and Goosen. And I'm walking off the green right on 17 after we lost, and he's like, where are you going? And I'm like, we lost. We don't need to pray, right? And he's like, no, we're gonna give thanks. And so he literally huddled us up again, and in the midst of a loss, you know, gave thanks to the Lord again that we got to play. And it was really cool to see, man, this guy's for real about his faith. And so that's probably my favorite, you know, my favorite, like, real moment. We've had so many funny moments that I could share, but for the sake of time, I won't.
I got to go take the bread out. Hang on. Hold, please.
That's classic. That's classic. I mean, what are we doing? Are we going to leave this in there? Ben Crane literally just got up from a Bubba Watson interview to take his bread out of the oven.
We got to leave it.
Just for the record, this is the lowest budget podcast I've ever been on.
Oh,
Hey,
gosh.
We're definitely keeping that in there. Ben, did you hear that?
No. I
Tell
heard
him, Bubba.
laughter.
I said, I said, this is definitely the lowest budget podcast I've ever been on.
It's been some lean years on the golf course for Ben and Webb.
Hey, not every one of us has a guaranteed contract here, you know?
Oh, man. But you could have.
Hey, look at my watch. That's all I can afford, a free whoop.
I know you're going to ask this question, so I'll tell you. So, Ben, my favorite thing with you is at Waste Management Sunday. I can't remember what year, but there was a microphone there, right? When they asked the crowds to hush. So on the 16th hole, and me and Ben are playing it. So it goes deeper on Monday. I got a phone call, but me and Ben are playing, and we're top 10, maybe top 5, I think. And so we have a chance to win the golf tournament at Waste Management. Microphones there, just standing there, like to tell people to hush or be quiet while we're hitting on the stadium hole at Waste Management. And me and Ben looked at each other while we were trying to win a golf tournament against each other and whoever else. And we were like, you want to do it? And so we sang Golf Boys right there on the microphone.
Over the microphone, swinging like a boomerang, danger, and come around, want to hit the top. Who did like chip putt? You know, we're doing this. I'm like, oh my, and the crowd starts going bananas.
And so then Monday, it doesn't matter who called me, but the PGA Tour called me and said, hey, there might be some discipline action. And I said, you need to check the website. We're the front page of PGAtour.com. And he calls me back and he goes, I'm going to let it slide this time. And because on the head of the website, PGAtour.com, it says the best thing that happened this week at Waste Management. And I was like, and I'm getting in trouble for this? And I'm like, hold on a second.
I'm sorry. We're not supposed to have fun in a golf tournament. My bad. Like, we shouldn't have fans out here, like, enjoying themselves.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, do you think I'm playing this? I was like, Ben, we're going to be top 5. We're going to try to win the golf tournament. There's going to be a microphone and we're going to be paired together. 5 days from now, I can see this happening. This is what we're going to play it. And then Webb. So then Webb, I've got one for Webb. You asked the question. You didn't, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So Webb, the same event, if you remember correctly, Jeff Ogilvy and Robert Allenby. Not Robert Allenby. Yeah, it was Robert Allenby.
It was.
And Robert Allenby had a putt, and the putt was, I'm going to say 3 feet, 2.5 feet. We'll say 2.5 feet. And Webb goes, oh, that's good. I said, no. I said, what are you doing? And I said, it's Robert Allenby. And I said this loud on the green. Robert heard me. Ogilvy heard me. The crowd heard me. And I said, it's Robert Allenby. Like, what are you doing? You don't give him those putts. I said, that's it. You're not giving any more putts. Next hole, he had like a 5-footer. He missed it. We ended up winning like 6-5 or something like that because he didn't make a putt the rest of the day, but he got picked, to be on the team. But I was like, whoa. And then there was the same event. Like there's a lot of stuff happened in that event. Remember you had the 8-footer on number 4, the par 4.
Yeah.
And, he goes, what do you think? And I mean, he's the best green raider and best putter as we know, right? And he goes, what do you think? I got over it. It was my putt. And I asked him, what do you think? And so I asked him and he was like, I was like, hey man, just go ahead and putt it. Nobody's looking, man. You just go ahead and putt it. And he was like, and he looks at me because, it's 4th hole into this event. It's the President's Cup. He's like nervous. And he was like, what do you mean putt it? I was like, no, man, I was just kidding, man. Like,
maybe I'm kidding, maybe I'm not.
Bubba definitely had to big brother me a few times that event. So I'm supposed to go odds, right? So I'm teeing off on the first hole, and we're walking over the first hole, and I'm like, hey, Bubba, I can't do it. He's like, what do you mean you can't do it? I said, I can't hit off the first tee. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm too nervous. I'm like, let me take evens, please. He's like, all right, I'll take odds. So he took odds, and I'm still struggling through a few holes. And he gives me a little pep talk walking back to the maybe 5th tee or 6th tee that, I've had a great year. I'm playing great. It's just golf. And then finally I started feeling a little better and we went on a little tear, which was fun.
But wait, time out. Hold on. We're not going without this. So I said, I think at that time you were like 8th in the world. And I said, look, it's the President's Cup. Half the people are American and half the people are European. So really, you're like 3rd best player here.
They're from the world.
You're the 3rd best player here. So really, you're 3rd in the world. And the top 2 are Americans. And I said, so what are you worried about? Like,
that's right.
don't be nervous. You're the best player. And then he was like, oh, yeah. And then I made Polly mad because I started singing
Karate Kid.
Karate Kids. And I was like, yeah. Every time he hit a shot, I was like, you're the best around. And he was like, stop it, Bubba.
All right, so we get to our fourth match, right? We're 3-0. And Bubba gets to the first tee. He goes, we got one goal this match, all right? And I'm like, all right, what is it? We're going to be like 7-6. We're not going to play the last 5 holes. I'm thinking more that way. He goes, we got to make Retief smile. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, the guy doesn't smile. We got to make him smile. That's our one goal. I'm like, all right. In my head, I'm like, this guy's crazy. He's only thinking about making Retief smile. So no smiles. We get to 17. We're 2 down with 2 to go. Retief's got 40 feet. If he 2 putts, match is over. We're already in for 2 pars. So Retief lags this 40-footer up about 6 inches. And Bubba kind of whispers to me. He goes, watch this. So Retief comes over with his hat off to us. And Bubba walks away and acts like he's going to read this putt he's got for par, right? And all of a sudden, Retief stops. I look at Retief like, I don't know what's happening. And then Bubba just starts laughing. He's like, it's good. And then Retief smiles. And Bubba goes, we did it. We did it. Retief is so confused.
Well, I want to talk about President's Cup this week, but before we get there, I want to go back to the Golf Boys a minute. Bubba, like, what made you want to do that? So Ben was making these crazy videos, but for you and Hunter and Ricky to get in when y'all are some of the best players in the world, like what triggered that, and what are some of your kind of favorite memories about that Golf Boys video?
Ben, I'm pretty sure I have it correct. We went to dinner in Tucson, right? Dove Mountain. It was and our fifth wheel was Ricky. It was mine. It was us 4. It was 2 couples, and then Ricky. Ricky was always our hanger owner, you know. And so about that time you were doing the videos and stuff, I went and met and hung out with Justin Bieber. And so then we started talking about boy bands and music at that dinner where we were just all goofing around talking. And we're like, hey, let's do something like this. Let's show our personalities. And then I remember the funniest part was Hunter's in. I said, do we need to talk to him? He goes, nah, he's in. He'll do it. So we just threw Hunter in there. And the fun part was it's really just getting to know the guys and seeing a different light of people. The first video was quick and seamless. The second one was like a real production where we spent like 3 or 4 days together shooting things. We had that storm in the background that had the lightning bolt. I mean, it was just like perfect.
Do you think that we could have foreseen that the Masters champ was going to be in overalls, you know, hitting off of a Coke bottle with the Mento going in and exploding? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what are they going to do that the Masters champ is like, you know, we have this video out there. Like, this is not Augusta National.
It's funny because, you know, I still have the overalls. I still have lady maternity overalls. I still have them. And
it's true. They are.
And I still have that. And I still have we did the beach scene on the bunker, and I still have those. There were the shorts overalls. So I have those. I have it just in case, man. I'm ready.
I wouldn't mind seeing Hunter Mahan back in that fur jacket, open chest. His body was not looking great in 2011. I'm not sure what it's looking like now.
Well, I've never won a Ryder Cup, so obviously it's President's Cup since we won. You know,
hey, you were an assistant though for a victory at Hazeltine.
Yeah, I'm not bitter about it. I was 7th in the world. What? I just, no, it was. That was absolutely. I think I told Ben too a couple of weeks ago. It was my favorite golf memory is being a vice captain, being able to help the guys.
They were tell that story, Bubba. That they were really confused why you showed up, and you got to just show humility.
It started with Angie. We were back home. We were already in Pensacola from Atlanta. I just top 10'd in Atlanta, East Lake. But Ryan Moore finished top 10 4 weeks in a row. There was 4 playoffs back then, and then he finished second to Rory. He lost in the playoff for the championship. And so we're back home, and I get a call from Davis, and I'm 7th in the world. And I know what I'm up against because of what Ryan did and how we've set the precedent. Good players needs to be picked. And Angie, I remember Angie looking through the door, and I shook my head no. Like I'm at the office and I shook my head. Had the phone in my ear and shook my head no. I didn't make it. And she was upset, right? Anybody would be. And I went in there and I told her. She goes, "Why do you want to be a vice captain?" And I said, "What would Jesus do?" And she says, "All right, what time are you flying out?" and it was at that simple moment that I told her. I said that to her. She was like, "Okay, when are you flying out?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna fly out next morning. I think most guys are getting in at like 1. I'm gonna fly out at like 9 a.m. so I can get there and blah blah blah." And truthfully, the first person I saw actually was Ryan Moore. Ryan Moore. My car parked at the hotel. The car behind me was Ryan Moore and his wife. And I told them what to do, how to do things. I said, "Look, man, let me get your bags." And they looked stunned. They were like, "Hold on a second. Didn't I just get picked over Bubba Watson? Why is Bubba Watson here? Like, this is weird." And I said, "Here's what you need to do. Try on your clothes. Go get them fit. There's a tailor down the hallway. All the things that me and Webb were used to on these team events. And we've been there before and done it. First time for Ryan Moore. So that was the first cool part. And then when you go to the team dinners and meetings where it's just the team and the captains and the caddies, they were like, "Man, I can't believe you're here. Like, I would not be here." And not to name call or name drop anybody, but 100% of the team said they wouldn't be there. Right. And, so I wanted to show them like golf is great. I love golf, but being able to be part of something bigger than me, on earth, like that's bigger than me, right? That you're helping the game of golf. You're helping the United States golf. You're helping 12 guys. You're also helping the captains and the wives and their friends that are there. You're just doing odds and ends for these people. And it's like, and I'm not even close, but like the 12 disciples, right? There's 12 guys on the team and you're like washing their feet, right? Like that's the vision I had in my head. And Teddy, I remember Teddy, I called Teddy. I said, "Hey man, I'm coming up here. Do you want to be a vice captain to the caddy guy?" Right. And he was like, "I'm coming." And so Teddy came up and we just got to love on people, meet people and show the other side. Everybody knows how great Teddy is, but it's a side of me that people didn't get to see or feel or even know that existed in me. So that's kind of the story, which was a dream come true for me. It was one of the best team moments, probably of my life for sure. I mean, playing is obviously better, but
I remember Brant Snedeker won his singles match that Sunday, and Bubba was out with Brant the whole time. And Brant said something to the effect in his interview, "I wouldn't have won today, and I don't think we'd have won as a team without Bubba Watson." He kind of pointed over to Bubba. And so just a cool testament to the Christ-like attitude, Bubba. Like you said, you didn't get picked. You had every right to be upset, 7th in the world. But Christ's kingdom is upside down, right? And so he came to serve, not be served. That's what you did that week. And really cool to see how you were honored among those guys.
All right, question for you guys. Webb, you already alluded to it, going to the first tee at the President's Cup, and you're like, "Dude, I can't do it." As we watch on Friday, when this episode's released, what are these guys going to be feeling, especially the first-timers? Like, what is going through their minds and bodies?
I mean, I think the most nervous I've ever been non-team event is the first tee at the Masters. And it's the history, the tradition, people are lined on both sides of the fairway, don't want to kill anybody. But these team events are a little different because you hear chants all morning. You hear yelling before play even starts. There's so much buzz and energy. This tournament's every 2 years. And it does feel a little different. At Masters, it's just you and your caddy. It's like your little team and you get in your own little world. Where this team event, you got captains, assistant captains, you got other teammates. I mean, you got 50 people inside the ropes and you're like, "I don't even know who these people are, but they're like 10 feet from me." So you got all that. But I told Russell Henley last week, I said, "Russell, you're going to be nervous, but you earned a spot on that team. Like, just do what you do normally. And after 1 or 2 holes, you're going to settle in and you'll probably play great." That's what I told him.
Well, for me, it's a totally different atmosphere, and you're nervous, you're scared to death, you don't want to lose, but I get energy. I feed off of having my mind goes into helping Webb, right? My mind went into helping Jeff Overton, JB Holmes.
Can we just say, does anybody take a harder practice swing than Jeff Overton?
So then like the LIV team event, right? Like I have a partner where I play with Matthew Wolf. And so for me, it's more about, it goes back to being a vice captain. Like I want to help my playing partner. And by me helping him calm down, it gives me focus. It gives me the energy, or it takes away the scare, the fear of myself. I'm so involved in what they're doing. That's how I approach it. When you have a teammate, and like Webb said, when you're by yourself, it's your caddy, right? So you're trying to, you're just feeding off the caddy, and it's individual. You're watching the leaderboard, but in a team event, you're face to face with your opponent. You don't have to look at a leaderboard. And so I feed off my teammate. And so that's why I play better in team than singles. I don't think I ever won a singles match because I'm so focused on the other 11 guys around the course. I don't even have, that's one of my downfalls, is that I focus so much on them. I don't focus on my own, round when I'm playing the individual, singles match.
All right, boys. Well, y'all know we make picks every week, Bubba. We pick each week, and then if you pick correctly, then you get to tell the other guys where to send money to a charity of your choice. And so how we'll do it for President's Cup, pick the top performer on the U.S. team, pick the top performer on the international team. And if you get either top performer right, then we'll send $500 to a charity of your choice. So real quick before we pick, Bubba, what charity are you passionate about that you'd want to highlight for our listeners?
Oh man, that I'm passionate about, that I want to highlight. There's a billion of them, but let's go with College Golf Fellowship.
Let's go. We didn't even ask him to do that, folks. All right. So Bubba, we'll give you the honor. Who's going to be the best performer on U.S. team? Who's going to be the best performer on the international team?
Keegan made the team, right? I'm going to go with Keegan. The reason why is because he's so passionate, but he hasn't been on the team for a little bit, but he's playing really good right now. So he's going to be fired up, right? Who isn't? I mean, but he's really going to be fired up. He gets fired up. He'll be backing off left and right. He'll be like, ah.
I'll go with Sahith. I think he's got energy. He's going to go 5 matches, I hope. I got Sahith.
Hey, here's why I don't like that pick. If he goes 5 matches and he's playing those alt shots, somebody's going to be hitting shots out of the trees that's not used to it. I'm going to go with our boy Russell Henley. I think Russell goes 3-0.
I'll take Xander.
All right, Bubba, international.
I'm going to be dead honest with you, man. Who's on the team?
Canadians, you got Pendrith and Mackenzie Hughes. And then you got people like Sung J.M., Siwoo Kim, Adam Scott, Hideki.
Jason Day, Tom Kim.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go. Is there other Canadians on there? Is Connors not on there?
Oh yeah, Corey Connors.
I'm gonna have to go with Corey Connors.
All right.
I'll take
Just because. Oh, there you go. Hey, why not pick Scotty too?
I'll go with Tom Kim. Honor Paulie Tesori.
Benjamin.
He picked Hideki.
Oh, you got Hideki. That's nice.
Yeah.
I'll go Jason Day.
Are you looking down the list right now?
For sure. I got CBSSports.com.
Who you got, William?
Kyle Porter's in my left ear telling me what to do. I got J-Day. All right. Well, we'll send money to CGF if anybody gets it right. All right, Ben, why don't you ask Bubba some questions just about like golf history? So how he got into it. What do you want to know?
Bubba, tell us about growing up. Tell us about your dad a little bit. Tell us about how you started like working the ball. You've never had a lesson. I go out with your wife and Caleb, and everybody's hitting a big fade. You're like, ain't more left, you know.
So I was 6 years old. I was left-handed. So my dad always dreamed of me being a baseball player, a Yankees baseball player. Don Mattingly was the guy that I looked to growing up, being a left-handed first baseman. So my dad wanted, left-handed pitchers were hard to come by then. Now they're like a dime a dozen. But, and so my dad wanted me to be a baseball player, but my dad to play on the weekends, weekend golf or every few weeks. he had to take me. My mom said, you got to take your son. And he's like, no, he's a baseball player. Obviously, my mom was the boss. So I went with my dad to the golf course, and lo and behold, God is great, because there was a left-handed golf pro. Left-handed golf clubs were hard to come by, right? Companies just didn't spend the money making left-handed golf clubs. And the head pro there was left-handed. He gave me a 9-iron. My dad cut it down to my size when I got home. So I had a 9-iron for the first year. I was 6 years old and had a 9-iron. I would hit down the fairway. My dad would be playing with the golf cart. I would just walk behind him and hit a 9-iron up the fairway. Couldn't hit it very far. Then my dad got me plastic golf balls because he saw that I loved it. So around my house in Baghdad, Florida, had big trees. So I'd go one way for cuts and I'd go the other way for draws. And then I'd draw a big circle in the dirt driveway, and that would be my hole. So I'd play all the way around the house one way, and that'd be a hole. All the way back the other way, that'd be a hole. And then as I got better and stronger and older, I started hitting over the edge of the house and drawing it around the corner, hitting it low, hitting it high. So that taught me the shots. The club face dictates all my shots, right?
This is how the greatest shot maker I've ever seen, and maybe in the history of our game, learns how to hit shots with wiffle balls around his house. That's so cool.
This is like Larry Bird type stuff with like the hoop to the tree on the dirt, That's what it sounds like.
And so so I just hit plastic golf balls. And as I got better, stronger, at 8 years old, I got the odds. So Ping made, left-handed equipment, same as they did right-handed. So it was easy to get Ping equipment, left-handed or right-handed back then. And, that would have been like 1985. And so I got the odds first. And then when I turned 9 that Christmas, I got the even. So I finally had a full set of Pings when I was 9 years old. But my first clubs were at age 8. Pings were at age 8. Then I got where I used plastic golf balls in the house. So the reason why I use a lob wedge everywhere is because in the house, my dad let me hit plastic golf balls in the house. So I would hit over chairs. I would even play off the couch. I would even do all these things. And I'd put little cups in the house, and I'd have to chip it into it. And then I finally, as I got older, middle school, my dad let me start using real golf balls in the house. And so I would chip around the couch and do everything with real golf balls. So that's why I've always used the lob wedges, because that's what I used practicing around my house, in my house. So it's just easy for me to hit all the shots with it because I've done it for years and years and years.
It's like 3 feet off the green at Troubadour, and he's got like 35 feet of green to go, and it's dead into the green. Lob wedge. I'm like, dang, I don't want to hit that shot. Rolls it up there like this. I'm like, that was a good shot.
That's one thing Paulie and I always talked about, was your pitching, chipping was super underrated and under talked about, but we played countless practice rounds, and I've seen you enough times with that lob wedge that there's not really a shot you can't hit.
I got lucky, you know what I'm saying? So, and so, yeah, so around my house, and last time I hit plastic golf balls around my house, I was in junior college. So I'd come home from junior college, about an hour away from my house. I'd come home from school, and I'd still hit plastic golf balls around my house. And not till I moved to Georgia to go to University of Georgia, and then moved out of my house. So I hit plastic golf balls around my house all the way through, first 1 or 2 years of college, junior college.
When did you know that you were really good?
So there's a tournament called the Divot Derby, in my area. Back then it was only the 2 counties could play in it. So it'd be Escambia County and Santa Rosa County. And I shot 62 that day. I won by 46, so I wasn't nervous coming down 18. I wasn't nervous coming down 18, but I birdied 18 to shoot 62. And so at age 13 to shoot 71, 62 in a tournament, and those, where you put everything out, that's when my parents, they were like, okay, we might have something here. And my dad kept saying, and the people around us, and Joe Durant, my dad was, random story too, how God is funny in his humor. Joe Durant's brother, my dad was Joe Durant's brother's best man in his wedding. And Joe Durant plays on the Champions Tour now.
Hey, real quick, if you offered Joe Durant your best watch in your collection, could he hit a draw?
Could he miss a fairway? No. Um, but so that, so my dad would ask Joe Durant and said, "Hey, what about my son?" And they'd be like, "Look, if he just keeps doing what he's doing, don't mess him up. Let him just keep, if he needs help later, let him just keep learning. He's hitting it past, like, I always hit it long because back then I hit a plastic golf ball. I went past parallel, right? And so that's how as a kid, you don't know to swing fast or do this. It's just, that's how I did it. And it developed my golf swing to where we are now. And so that's really the plastic golf balls is what really taught me everything. But I did it with my creativity in my head instead of going and playing, Nintendo or video games. I was outside just always tinkering, trying to figure out how to do a shot or hit a shot or, not get my dad yelling at me because I broke a window or anything. So I was always just trying to figure out how to do it. And that's really how I went about it.
I've got one of these stats right here that's incredible. You've led strokes gained driving 4 different times. And folks, what that means is basically the best driver of the golf ball on the PGA Tour was Bubba Watson 4 times. That kind of combines accuracy and distance. He did it 4 times. His best driving year was 2012. It's the best driving year recorded in the ShotLink era, which is incredible. He was as far ahead of Rory, who was in second that year, as Rory was to 16th best. And so I got to see it up close and personal. Sometimes it was a high bomb that flew 330. Sometimes it was a low 40-yard cut that carried about 250 and ran out to about 320. So, Bubba, was it the driver? Was it the shot shaping? Was it just the way you learned to play? And it seemed like you were more comfortable hitting driver a lot of times than hitting 3-iron off the tee.
100%. Hitting an iron off the tee, I don't have anything to focus on. For me, it's all about my focus and what I'm focused on in my life, what I'm focused on the golf course. And so if you're hitting a 4-iron into a par 3, you have a target, you have a green, you have a limit where you're trying to hit it, right? And when I'm on a fairway, all I see is this big fairway, right? I don't have something I can really just hone in on. But now with the driver, I felt comfortable because I could maneuver the ball. I could slow it up, speed it up, do all those things. And I got something to feed off of when it comes to like off a tree or off a bunker, or I can see the rough line really well. So driver under pressure, I'm pulling out driver. I don't care. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to pull out driver unless it's a weird hole that you just can't hit driver. I haven't had one of those yet where I was under pressure. So I've hit driver, anytime under pressure.
So from Baghdad, Florida to winning the Masters in 2012, definitely want to hear about the shot in the playoff on 10, but even before that, like, what was it like to win the Masters? What's going through your head that week? What stands out to you about that week? And then take us into that like famous iconic shot on the 10th hole.
I mean, truthfully, I was playing good, right? Like we've all been playing good up to tournaments. And I think I won LA that year, 2012. I think I finished top 5 at Bay Hill, where Tiger always wins. I played good back then. Miami Doral was a tournament, and we played. I think I've top 5 there, maybe. So I was playing really good, but this whole time that I was playing great, like I said earlier, is my mind was so focused on something else. We've tried the process of adopting before. My dad the year that we started the process, my dad got cancer. A year later, 9 months later, he passed away. So we didn't go through the adoption process because of all the other stuff going on. And now 2012, that winter of 2011, we decided, okay, we're going to get back in here. We're going to try to adopt. And we got turned down a few times. We got turned down at Bay Hill. Monday at Bay Hill, we got turned down for our 3rd time. And this is Bay Hill's 3 weeks or 2 weeks before Augusta, somewhere in that area, right? So we got a call on Tuesday now at Bay Hill, the practice round day, and said, hey, you have to come get this baby right now. And why I'm telling you all this is because my mind was so focused on what we were trying to accomplish, right? We were trying to become a husband and wife family now with a baby. And so that was the whole focus over the last few months. leading up to the Masters. And so when this came about, we got turned down. I mean, how do you hug your wife and say, and when she's saying, am I not fit to be a mother? And so, those are things that, forget golf, forget me 3-putting. Like that's more important than anything I could ever do in a job. And so for me, it's like, oh my gosh, like how am I supposed to, I don't even know. I mean, hold on, how do I deal with this? I'm not capable of dealing with this. Then on Tuesday, we got a call and said, there's a child in South Florida, month old. Can you come get him? And we were like, well, I can't, I'm playing really good. If I back out now, people are going to ask why. And if they ask why, then I've got to tell them why. But what happens if we get turned down again? And so it's just a lot of things to process. How do you do it the right way? I think I was like 8th in the world at the time, playing really good up to Augusta. So we wait till after Bay Hill. So Monday after Bay Hill, Angie picks me up from the course on Sunday at Bay Hill. The courtesy car is packed full of baby stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing showing up here with baby stuff? Like, people are going to be asking questions. And so, that goes back to my sinful nature, thinking that people are actually paying attention to what Bubba Watson's doing. Nobody cares. But so nobody was in the parking lot at that time, right? They were over there celebrating Tiger winning again. And so we leave, and Monday we go down to South Florida. We drive down to South Florida. And literally the lawyer hands the baby over, and I have to fly to Arizona. So when I go to Arizona to do some paperwork for adoption, Caleb couldn't leave the state of Florida, so Angie stayed there. I flew. When I get back 3 days later from Arizona, Angie goes, "You're playing too good. Go to Augusta early." So that's the first time I went to Augusta. I think I went on a Thursday night, maybe a Wednesday night. We called the house and asked if we could rent it for longer. So I went up, me and my mom and my father-in-law went up. And so now at Augusta, now the real question you asked, is the fact that every day that I got done practicing, I got to see pictures of Caleb. I got to see videos of him doing nothing. He's a month old, so he just sits there. But for me, that's a big deal, right? For all of us, we feel that. So my interviews were all about, I can't wait to get home to see Caleb. You're playing so great. I know, but I can't wait to see Caleb. He's never had a man's touch, feel, smell. Like he needs a man in his life. He needs to feel my hairy chest. I mean, all these things, right? And so those are the things that I focused on. And truthfully, I can't tell you what I shot the first round, second round, third round. And so I was so focused on that. And every interview, I just talked about him. And so I was so focused on something more positive in my life or going well in my life that I didn't even care about. I cared about the golf, but it wasn't life or death like it is. Sometimes we put our job as life or death, right? That's who we are as people, but no, truthfully we're not, but that's what we think, right? We feel that. And so going into that, Louis had made a double legal on 2. And so at that time, I birdied the hole, got beat by 2. I'm 4 down to Louis. And so at that time, I'm 4 down, and I'm sitting there talking to Teddy, and I'm like, man, a top 10, a top 5, like this is amazing. At the Masters, like let's keep battling. Forget winning. Let's battle to do this. I 3-putted. I was just off the green on 12. I called it a 3-putt, but I was off the green, so I putted, missed it, made a bogey.
Lob wedge. It's lob wedge.
Exactly, but Teddy wouldn't let me. Teddy, he told me not to. So he's not here, so I can say that. So then I go to 12, and we're walking to 12, and I was like, we can still top 10. We can still top 5. Like we still got this. At that time, I'm 4 down, give or take. I'm somewhere on 4 down. So I birdied 13.
By the way, is 13 the perfect hole for you?
Not anymore. It was back in the day. The trees have grown a little bit, and that tee box has been moved quite a bit. But now on, me and Ted even talked about it. Now on 14, I was like, hey, you remember when like Tiger Woods and Phil hit one and it spun back off the hill back into the hole? The hole's in a little different location. It's a little bit tighter to the slope, but so you can't get it as close. But I said, I'm going to hit this sandwich and I'm going to bring it off this hill. And he was like, okay. And I did. Hit it to like 7 feet and made it. And I was like, oh, man, we still got a chance for a top 10. Like I've never once said win out of my mouth, right? I never once. So then I hit this shot. I birdie, hit a 7-iron into 15, make birdie. hit an 8-iron into 16, make birdie. And I remember raising my putter when I was going in on 16. And I was like, and I gave it a little, I don't even know if I gave it a fist bump. I just raised my putter. So now walking to 17 is the first time I messed up all week, is where I said, man, we got a chance to win this. We're tied at the Masters. He goes, I know, man. And then I sliced it so far. That ball is still slicing. Luckily it hit a tree and dropped down. That was probably the hook shot is what everybody knows because it was the shot, right? But 17 was probably the hardest shot, the toughest shot. I had 155 yards. I pulled out. And as y'all know, of playing there, it's like when people walk, it gets like muddy in the rough. So there's really no grass. It's more like mud, dirt, but it's hard pan kind of. So I hit a 52-degree gap wedge as hard as I possibly could hit it, high as I could possibly hit it, and swung for the fences. Fly it onto the middle of the green. I had about a 40-footer. So that was probably one of my best shots. There's two shots that week that was better than the hook that me and Teddy talk about. That was one of them. And now in the playoff, we're skipping ahead way to the playoff, but on that hole, number 10, I remember my shoulders coming down. If you watch the video, I hit the drive and it doesn't slice, and I'm like, ah. And what I'm upset about is, like, in my head, I'm playing through 2010. I lost to Martin Keimer in 2010 in a playoff for the PGA Championship. And I was like, oh my gosh, my second chance to win a major might be my only chance to win a major again. And it's the Masters, and I just lost it. And then for some reason, Louis takes out 3-wood, kind of flares it, I guess to draw it, right? Like he wanted to draw and help him draw it a little bit better. So he took out 3-wood, but he flared it, and it stayed in the first cut. He had 4-iron or 3-iron. I think it's a 4-iron. Came up short of the green. So now when I get to my ball, he's already hit 2 shots, and he's short of the green, pins in the back. So I'm like, man, he's not making birdie. So par gets us to the next hole. And then when I get down there, the crowd made they made the path of the shot I had to hit because there was trees in the way. And so it gave me my shot. And now going back to wiffle balls or plastic golf balls, it's a hook. That shot was, to be honest with you, if I'm just playing with you guys, it's not a big deal. Like, nobody cares. Like, it was just so easy.
Famous Bubba Watson line that I've heard many times is, if I got a swing, I got a shot. He always said, if I can just make a swing, I'll figure some shot out.
That's what I always tell Teddy. I said, man, if I got a swing, I got a shot. So long as I got a swing, Teddy would go down early and he'd be like, hey man, you got a swing. I'm like, perfect, we're good. And so I hit this hook, 52-degree gap wedge. But again, slumped the shoulders. What his reaction to 2 shots, my reaction from his shots, the wind slightly helping, the adrenaline from where we're at, lie was good. That's what pulled that shot off, right? Gave me the energy to hit the 52, gave me the adrenaline to hit the 52 degrees, 135 front, 164 hole. So pulled it off. But the coolest part about the whole thing is it's my mom being there. I'm bawling. I'm an ugly crier. And so being there, thinking about my dad not being there, thinking about the man that gave me my left-handed club, thinking about the people that paved my way, right? That planted seeds in my life, not even about Christ, but about golf. And then having 3 professional golfers be down there. You got Aaron Badley, Ricky Fowler, you got Ben Crane. I mean, and their family members that were there, they had to walk. There was no cart rides. They're behind the green and thinking about, I can't wait to get home. Yeah, it was a dream come true. And when you sit back, all the steps that it took for me to get to that point, from Baghdad to winning, and the people that were there to love on me, gosh, it was a dream come true. And yeah, I won the Masters on top of it, but like all the other stuff was a dream come true. And then to actually pull it off is an amazing journey.
All right. And then what about the difference between 2014 and 2012? Any difference in feelings after you won?
It was different. It was different that Sunday. I was losing. I remember plugging it in the bunker on, I plugged it in the bunker on 7. I hit, but luckily that pin's in the bowl, so you could hit the bunker shot, let it run up and come all the way back down. So it came back down to like 2 feet. Jordan Spieth made a birdie on 7. So at that time he was 3 up. And Teddy was with me. Teddy's like, hey man, you've been here before. And when Teddy said that, I was like, okay, This kid is 20. I think he was 20 at the time, maybe. And I was like, okay, he hasn't felt the back nine. He's heard about the back nine. He's known about the back nine, but he hasn't felt it. And I said, so we have an advantage. We've done it before on the back nine at Augusta. So we can say we've done it. So I'm one up. Like in my head, I'm trying to pump myself up. I hit a 6-iron into 8, a driver 6-iron into 8, the par 5. I hit it just over the green. I chipped it to it was a little downwind, but I chipped it to a couple feet, have a birdie putt. He flares it to almost 9 fairway, hits it to 30 feet, tough shot, hits it to 30 feet. He 3-putts and I make mine. So now I'm 1 down with 10 to play. And I'm like, okay, we're not even to the back 9 yet. And we're already gaining on it. And so the difference was, and then I birdied 9, he bogeyed 9. So now I'm 1 up with 9 to play. The difference was it was more of me, not the chaser, and me we were going through the adoption process again. So there was a lot of positives in my life at that moment that we were doing, to adopt a baby girl. And so it was the same, but different. I wasn't the chaser this time with the last 9 holes. It was, I'm the leader, but I had already been there before. So it was a different feeling. I felt like I was the veteran, the mature one there because I've been there before and I've done it. So there was just a different golf feel than it was the first time. The first time was more of, man, let's just somehow have a high finish, and then randomly had 4 birdies. But this one was more of I'm the leader here. I've done this before. These guys around. I think it was Jonas Blix was up there as well, with Jordan. So I was like, he hasn't done it before at the Masters. He's done it, at other tournaments, but not at the Masters. So it's a different feeling. So it just gave me the confidence to keep battling on the back 9.
If I remember correctly, such a cool moment on 18 once you won. 2 years prior, you're about to adopt or just adopted Caleb, and now you got Caleb. You were holding him, right? And you were high-fiving the crowd. Just amazing to see what God had done in your life in just 2 years with that boy and then soon to be Dakota.
Yeah. He waddled out. He had his hands in his pants pocket. He waddled out. He's a couple years old. And I've always had this dream when I was a kid and you'd make the putt to win the Masters or win a major. You always I always dreamed of high-fiving. Like I was just I don't even like touching people, but I wanted to high-five. So that was my dream. Right. And so when he waddled out, I picked him up and I went back towards the bunker, the front bunker, started there and high-fived him with my arms and high-fived all the way down, back up, around the green, because that's just something I've always wanted to do. And it's funny because Dakota's always asked me every time we go to the Masters, she's like, hey, Dad, I've never been able to walk on the green with you. So can you win this week so I can walk on there?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So tell us real quick, just about adopting the kids. What has that taught you about the Lord over the years?
Oh, man, we don't have enough time, man. So it's funny. People that don't know we adopted, they can see our kids and us. We look similar, right? There's a lot of things that happen. We look very similar. And then the personalities were very similar, right? And so that's the sad part, is that my son is taken after me. And so it's just, and I could hear my dad. I can hear the same stuff my dad says. Don't run in the house. Don't do that. The ground's wet. Why are you running right there? That's why you fail. I can just see the parent, and you think that's so wrong. And what does my dad know? What does my mom know? And now that I'm a parent, it's like, oh, that's what my dad used to yell, and I'm yelling the same thing, right? It's like, what are you doing? Right, exactly. But it's experience. It's like we didn't have the experience. Now that we have the experience, you're like, oh, every parent says the same thing because they've experienced the owies, they've experienced the cuts on the legs, right? Oh, don't do that. And so, you know what? It's truthfully the first date, mine and Angie's first date was, she told me, she said, I can't have kids. And I said, great. God gives us many ways to have kids, to have a family. It doesn't, and it didn't even faze me. Right. And so maybe that's what helped her like me a little bit more, but that it didn't even faze me about the process of adopting. And then as my faith has grown and as my learning of the Bible has grown, it's a dream come true to be able to, first of all, help somebody of our own country, kids that are not asked to be born in a situation. So being able to help two kids, being able to help them and teach them and show them and hopefully show them the right ways to be. I mean, God has blessed me beyond belief. Just having those two kids in my life, Caleb and Dakota, because it helps me learn and it helps me be more mindful of what sin pops up real fast. And so it shows me I wouldn't say it's a mirror looking at me, but it looks like a mirror looking at me, right? When a 12-year-old boy looks at you and you want to like freak out because you 3-putted and you're like, hey man, you need a water? It's hot out here. It's like, so, I mean, it does, it teaches you a lot, but it shows you a lot how young and immature we are as kids, even as young adults, because you can hear what your parents were telling you. Because they are giving you right advice. Like the Bible gives you right advice if you read it. Parents give you the right advice if you listen. I mean, it's a never-ending battle, but it's a great thing the journey to be on, to learn for yourself, but also teach.
I just want to share a quick story and just a conversation that we had at Troubadour. We played in the club championship together. I'm like, no, you're not playing a club championship. And you're like, yeah, I'm playing. I'm like, no, like we don't play in that kind of stuff. He's like, Bubba's like, oh, I got like 5 of these things. I love winning the club championship. I'm like, I'm like, listen, if you're playing, I want to play with you. I like playing with you, so I guess I'll play. So we're playing the club championship together. And I just said to him after we got halfway through, Bubba's reputation already at Troubadour is he and Angie have loved the staff well. Like people are just amazed by how kind they are. And I said to Bubba, I said, buddy, you're a new person. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Therefore, if anyone's in Christ, he's a new creation. The old is gone, new is come. And I've just seen this transformation in you. And I said, Bubba, I think you tried to do it, but you couldn't. And you're like, and Angie tried to do it too, and she couldn't. It's like, it's a work of God. And I know there's been a really influential pastor friend in your life that's really encouraged you recently and just over the last, stretch. But God has done an amazing thing in you. And it's been so, I got in the car and I go, Heather, Bubba's like, he's one of the most enjoyable people I've ever been around. Like he's a different person. And we've been friends for a long time, but like I've seen this transformation. I've seen the Lord do this work. And I just want to say, well done. And just talk about your relationship with your pastor friend, because the Lord has done a really amazing thing in your life.
Yeah. So, Pastor Dave, as we call him at the house, so my kids will, who try to call him the right things. He's 42, new pastor. We moved back to Pensacola when I was going through all my mental struggles. 15, 16, 17 was my lowest point. We moved back to Pensacola because I thought I was going to retire from golf. And so I wanted to have a place to stay. I have a few businesses here. So I wanted to have a place to live and where I could be myself and not have to be somebody different. And so we moved back here, and Angie's prayer and my prayer was we wanted Angie to meet some girls that could guide her, help her, and she could live life with. And about that time, this church that we ended up going to was hiring a new pastor, and it happens to be Pastor Dave and his wife Brooke. And Brooke is a PhD neuroscientist. She knows all this stuff. She knows I got issues. And so, but she can have a conversation with me where I don't even know she's graduated college. And then she has these deep conversations with Angie. So God answered our prayers, and also and by coming home and Angie talking to me and the work and doing things, I was able to get out of my darkest moments in my life. But now going back to the pastor said, Bubba, we don't have anything really in common, right? Like he's studious, he reads, he does all these things, and I play sports. He's not very athletic. He'll tell you that too. So I'm not hiding anything. But he loves sports. He's a baseball nut. Like he can tell you all the stats and all these things. But I said, look, man, we're just alike. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, you're on a stage. I'm inside the ropes. We believe people are judging us by how we play or how you perform or how you preach. And he never thought about that. He's like, I guess you're right. And I said, social media is my email. People write me on social media, positive or negative. Same thing they write with him with emails. The congregation can write him a good email or a bad email, depending on the day, right? And so me and him are a lot more alike than you think. Forget what we do for a living, but we're a lot alike. So we've spent a lot of times, our families spent a lot of times together. We've over the last 5 years, he's been a pastor here, and so yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and it's more of wanting, of actual inside wanting to learn more, and it's but it's not just one. It's not like you three planting seeds or Teddy planting a seed or my wife planting a seed. It's all of it together. It's like everybody in my life was a piece of that seed, if that makes sense. So it made the real seed that started growing. And Pastor Dave was part of that, right? And so I think that's where my lowest point, and I laughed it off when I got down on my knees and prayed. And as soon as I said that in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, get off the floor. What are you doing? And it was just and that's where my faith really started growing. And about, we got to look at like what's going on in our lives. We woke up this morning. Yeah, we might have some issues, but we woke up this morning. There's people that didn't. We have food to eat. We have water to drink. We have all these things. And so that's really what got me. And so pastor was just one of those, people, one of the many people that helped me. God is the one, like you said, Ben, God is the one that actually did it. But all those people pointed me or gave me a piece of that seed that got me to where I needed to look, I guess you would say. And that's what got me to where I am today. So thank you for those kind words too, Ben, by the way.
All right. Before we jump into Romans 15:7, we would miss, I think, if we didn't ask you about being on the LIV Tour. So what made you go? What's your favorite part about it? And then is there anything you miss?
Let's start with the first part. What I miss, there's certain tournaments, right? There's certain venues you miss. You love the town, you love the atmosphere. So yes, if I could play on, a handful of PGA Tour events, I would play in them. I would love to. And why I went, there's a bunch of reasons, but being able to help people, I feel like there's I'm playing right now. So there's 4 people on a team. So there's 3 other guys that I get to pour life into. They're already good enough at golf, right? Like Matthew Wolff is 25. He was 12th in the world when he was age 20. He's good at golf. Peter Uihlein is good at golf. Thomas Peters is good at golf. I'm not going to really give them any more knowledge that they already have or their coaches have for them, but I'll be able to teach them or show them how you should act as a man, as a husband, as a father, all those things. Hopefully I'll be able to show them that. So that's one of the main reasons I get to partner with people. I get to travel with people, do life together with people. And if they're not a believer, I get to hopefully plant that small piece of that seed like you guys did for me. And hopefully grow something from that or God used that to grow, what he wants in his plan. And then traveling less events, giving us time off. That's more time with the family. Angie for the last 2 years was the head basketball coach for the girls here in town. So she got to do that. As soon as my season ended, her season started. As soon as her season ended, my season started. So I got to be at every practice and every game. And now Dakota just started softball last night. Caleb made the JV basketball team. So I'll be here for all of their sports. And then the season will start back. I got 4 months off, man. I don't have anything to do for 4 months. Maybe I should be a regular occurrence on this podcast, but,
you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, exactly. Low budget. There's no payment. And so life is, golf is golf, but I wanted to do something more. And so LIV lets me start something from scratch and be a franchise owner, a team owner, things that I've never dreamed of as a kid, but now I get to be that. I wanted to take on the challenge, fail or succeed. I wanted my mind to be able to create. If it sits still, it's just, I'm not using my mind the right way that God made my mind to work. And so, it's a joy. It's been a dream come true. I've had so much fun and energy playing golf. I played more practice rounds than I've ever played in my life with the guys. We've practiced chipping and putting together. It's been a blast.
All right. Well, we could keep going about all this stuff, but let's jump into the Bible time. So, Bubba, you told us one of your favorite verses is Romans 15:7. And what we want to do now is just quickly read it and unpack it, and then want to hear from you why it's your favorite. So one of you boys read for us Romans chapter 15, verse 7.
All right, here we go. Therefore, welcome one another as Christ has welcomed you for the glory of God.
So after spending more than a chapter on how to think about and relate to one another on issues that Christians can often disagree on, Paul says, therefore, welcome one another as Christ has welcomed you for the glory of God. So let's start with this. What does it mean to welcome someone?
For me, when I read it and I listen to it, it's to welcome, it's to love someone no matter what just happened. It's like what Ben asked earlier. As a parent, there's nothing they can do to not love your child. You might be upset with them. You might be a little hurt, but you're still going to love them. And that's how we should treat our wife, our spouse. But that's the same way in my mind. I take it to a level where like God loves us no matter what. So why can't we do that? If he keeps giving us a free pass or taking us back in, why can't we take whoever back in?
That's it. It's to accept without conditions, right? You accept them.
Yeah. And I love where Bubba went, because it says welcome one another, and then key little word, as Christ has welcomed you. And so I think the next right question is just to reflect on and remember, how has Christ welcomed us? So when y'all think about that, Ben, when you think, how has Christ welcomed us? What do you say?
Oh man, how has Christ welcomed me? Well, first of all, I'm a sinner. I am broken. I have sinned
so sinful.
relentlessly. And what has God done? God has provided a remedy. He's gone to the greatest lengths to send his son to die in my place so that God could welcome me through the forgiveness that Jesus offers on that cross. So, I mean, what more could God do than send his son as showing us how much he loves us in order to welcome us? And so it's like, wow, as Christ has welcomed me, well, he died for me. So that's the greatest welcome I've ever received and ever will. And it will bring me home. It ultimately leads to my adoption.
That's what I was going to say, Ben. It's almost this amazing, mind-blowing two-part welcome. The first is he gets rid of all of our sin. He took the wrath of God upon himself for us, which that is a miracle. We could think lifetimes about it, and we wouldn't be able to think through all the amazing benefits of that. But then, like Ben said, adoption. He goes, not only are you fully forgiven, and not only is your sin not counted against you anymore, but hey, you're a part of my family forever, and nothing can change that. So it's a perfect and full welcome.
And so I want to speak quickly to the person who maybe hasn't experienced the welcome of Christ quite yet. Here's what you need to know. No matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, no matter what you've been through, no matter how many mistakes you've made, no matter how broken you feel, no matter how unlovable you think you are, Almighty God wants to welcome you through Jesus Christ. He tells us that's why he came. Luke chapter 19, verse 10, he came to seek and save the lost. He came for sinners and tax collectors and thieves and rascals like us, the four of us on this podcast, and maybe like you. And he did everything necessary to welcome you. And so if you're out there wondering, could this be true? It's true. Almighty God wants to welcome you through Jesus Christ. And then, as Christ has welcomed us, back to the focus of the verse, we are now to welcome one another in that same way, right? And when we do, what's the result? Last little part of the verse.
God gets glory.
It brings glory and honor to God when we welcome one another like Christ has welcomed us. All right, so now to you, Bubba. Tell us why this is one of your favorite verses.
So I started social media, and I was doing these videos, and there was some people hit me up on social media and told me about this verse, and they said at the end of your videos, because I answered them back. I was answering people back then when I had a few followers. So I was answering them, and they were like, man, Thank you for answering me. And so I was like, you're welcome. So I always said, you're welcome back to him. That's what I kept saying back to him. And the guy said, hey, you always say you're welcome, like thousands of your welcomes back to people. They said, have you ever seen this verse? And so now I've read the verse and I understand the verse, and maybe not understand it, but I think I do. And and so now on all my videos, I always say you're welcome at the end of them, because normally you'd say thank you for watching or whatever, right? So I always just say you're welcome. So now when people ask, I get to tell them why. Now there's a lot of people that don't want to know why, right? But there's a lot that do, and a lot that need to hear it and know why. And so it just became part of my tagline because of that. So when people ask, why do you say you're welcome? Romans 15:7, like it's easy for me to answer that. And my lowest point in my life, I'm adding to this, is what I learned is, and what I've learned through the professional golf is we all want love. I know I fear that people are judging me by what I shoot, and by welcoming, when you hear the word welcome, that means it's basically like love thy neighbor, love one another, welcome one another, be supportive of one another, respect one another. Those are what the things that pop in my head when I hear that verse. And that's where, that's why that verse touches me so much. After I didn't know about the verse until social media, and then it gravitated me towards it and fed me off of it.
All right. Well, we always close out each episode with a swing thought, a practical takeaway that we're going to just carry into real life. So you kind of get your lesson in the podcast, but then we want to take a specific swing thought into our week. And so each one of us, let's just take away one thing from this episode. Webber, we'll start with you. What's your swing thought from this episode going into the week?
Yeah, my swing thought is, I'm just taking the words out of the verse. How am I welcoming others in the name of Christ in my life, whether it's to dinner, to play golf with, just my normal everyday life? Am I welcoming people into my life to share Christ?
Yeah, for me, I think also the word welcome. The way Bubba shared his story and God has welcomed him, the way Bubba and Angie have in turn adopted Caleb and Dakota and welcomed them into their family. Like, this is all a gift of God, and he gets the glory, and that's exactly what this verse says.
I think glory, right? You've given God the glory. I think that's where I know for a fact I fall short a lot of times, is that I'm not. It wasn't Ben, Webb, wasn't Angie, it wasn't Teddy that put me where I am today. It's God. And the wins, what I've learned, and I've texted with Teddy about this after they won the FedEx Cup, is I finally realized golf was just the way that God got me to where he wanted me to be. And I'm not there yet. I'm just on that path that his plan was to use the game of golf to help me and direct me. That's how he used me to get on the path that he wanted me on. And so when I think about glory at the end of that, I think about giving all the glory to God. And like, that's where we need to be. When you win on the President's Cup or you lose on the President's Cup, we still pray and thank him that we were there.
Man, I just, listening to what Bubba just articulated, Philippians 2:12-13 come to mind. Paul says to the Philippians, therefore, as you have always obeyed, so now not only is in my absence, but much, or not only in my presence, but much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God who works in you both to will and to work for his pleasure. And each of you guys have been faithful to work out your Christian life, but when you just step back and look at it, you realize it's God who's been working in me, to bring about his will for his own good pleasure. And so clear, Bubba, in your life. And huge thanks for joining us, dude. We got tons of respect for you. And the fact that you take an hour and change to do this with us means a lot to us.
Thank you, Bubba. Hey, I should have had this buttoned up the whole time to honor you, but I realized halfway through it wasn't buttoned, so this is for you.
Hey, I did wear my master shirt to honor Bubba. That's why.
There we go. My son, to this day, my 13-year-old Jamesy boy, he buttons it all the way up because he saw Bubba do it a long time ago, and he thinks it looks better. So
he gets it.
He gets it. You're welcome.
He gets it.
You're welcome. Yeah. Well, thanks for listening to the Bible Caddie podcast. If you have questions about Jesus or if you have a golf question you want the guys to answer, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at biblecaddy@gmail.com. You can follow us on all the socials under the handle @BibleCaddie. We'll be back next week in our study of the book of James. Until then, let's get into the Word and let the Word get into us.